looks like a typical Saturday down here. It doesn't look like last week we had some kind of bike racing event. I don't think anything's happening this week, but the bridge is still closed off. So I'm not really sure why. Maybe there was construction. I had assumed maybe they shut it down for this event or that event, but it looked like it was still shut down. So I mean, we weren't gonna park over there anyway, so it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Just gonna wait for give people a chance to pop in before we start shooting the shit. I really like this downtown Plainfield area. It's not too far either. It's like 10 minutes if there's no traffic. They're always doing some kind of construction over here, so sometimes things get a little backed up, but we got the shortcut. We got the back way. We take the back way to get here, so it's usually a little quicker. Well, just waiting for people to pop in. We start talking about the topic. Appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you for the like, whoever did that. Appreciate it. No, I never asked for it, but when you guys do it, I really appreciate it. It does help the video. If you didn't see my post, because I was just letting everybody know we were going to do this today, but next Tuesday, Petunia the Pit Bull, which even if you've been on this channel a while, you may not even, Petunia the Pit Bull was, I made videos with her. Those were like some of my first few videos with Petunia. So she'll be reappearing on the show, not the show, on the channel. But we're gonna do an off leash walk with her and Goose Tuesday morning. Morning. Yeah, she won't bother you. She won't bother you. Yeah. All right, come on, girl. Let's go. What's up, OT? Appreciate you joining, man. We are back downtown. Still busy down here, but not quite as much happening as last week. No big biking events like last week, but obviously it's Saturday. People are here, about to have lunch, drinking their coffee. I saw a couple dogs out on the patios, but a lot of people walking around. Thought we're just gonna, I'll give people a couple more minutes before we start really talking about anything. Oh, there we go. All right. Appreciate everybody joining. We are downtown. Goose is off leash. Downtown Plainfield. Come on, girl. Just like we were last week. If you didn't see the first live stream, I really enjoyed doing that one. Highly recommend checking that one out. That's all good, OT, man. Sometimes you need a little break. But we got enough people in here at the moment. I think I'll start discussing the topic. If anybody in here is watching and the topic pertains to them, let me know. You know, if you are someone who has a dog where it's constant conflict, constant friction, the dog is constantly being disrespectful, you're trying to assert yourself, but the dog just doesn't listen. Then there's a few different things happening there, because it's not supposed to be that way. If you have constant conflict, it means that the relationship dynamic is not established correctly. Much in the same way where if you had constant conflict with your child, then you would understand some. Of course, it depends on the like if you have a puppy, of course they're going to go through the different stages of development. This way. We're not going to go over here. So even if you do everything correctly, there's going to be some natural, there's going to be conflict. It's unavoidable as you're raising your dog or your puppy into a dog. That's just par for the course. I don't care how well you do things. There's going to be issues, but it's a matter of how do we address those issues as they come up. Of course, if you have a younger dog, it just depends on how old they are. Usually people will start seeing issues develop around 3 to 4 months. And then the dog becomes a teenager around 7 months, depending on the breed and size. And so it's crucial that you lay the foundation correctly before that dog becomes a teenager. Because the teenage phase is always the most difficult phase. But a lot of people wait too long and they don't get things established. They don't begin to build that foundation early enough, and then the dog becomes a teenager and you have a whole new set of problems on your hands. And even when you do things correctly, as I said, you're going to have dogs that are just a little more difficult, and that teenage phase just brings about new challenges, right? So it's all good. Okay, Goose, come on, let's go. It is what it is. But if you have an adult dog, that's a different story. So if you have an adult dog and you're still having conflict, now sometimes you adopt a dog and there's just, conflict from day one just because where the dog's been, whoever handled the dog previously, they didn't give that dog what it needed. It's just the nature of, it's just the nature of being in and out of the shelter system. There's always going to be some kind of issue. But let's say you've had your dog for a while and there's still conflict. Like every day there's some issue that's always presenting itself, or you're engaging in these repeated power struggles. Then it's a sign that something's not right. So the most simplest phrase I can tell you is dominance makes all the difference. Now, what is dominance? If we just look at the definitions of these words, dominance would be power and influence over. Right? So the dynamic would be, we're going this way, girl. This way. Come on. You establishing power and influence over the dog. So what does that look like? Well, by nature, one of the most common problems I see with people is they're too soft with their dog. Right? Maybe you're not consistent with establishing boundaries. Maybe you're not focused on discipline as much as you should be. You're not as assertive as you should be. You're not providing clear direction. Maybe the communication is unclear and ineffective. And the thing I teach all my clients is rules and boundaries which are consistently enforced become expectations. So if you are not doing that on a day-to-day basis, then what it leads to is your dog ends up believing, and you may not be aware of it. A lot of times it's just people don't know what they're looking for or what they're looking at. And so the way the dog perceives you is not the way it should be. So if we understand that dogs are social creatures and they look at things from the lens of a dominance hierarchy, if that dog perceives you as lower than it within that hierarchy, then that's what's going to lead to the friction. That's what's going to lead your dog to engage in power struggles. Your dog will, in a lot of cases, be the one disciplining you, because the dog does not believe you are strong enough to lead the group. So it comes down to strength and weakness, right? We're dealing with animals. Okay? So, yeah, right. It's when the dog engages in those power struggles, you have to win those. And that can look different. It's very situational, right? But a lot of dogs will do the same things. You know, maybe they will make demands of you. A lot of times, you know, you could be sitting on the couch, dogs will invade your space, or they'll nudge your hand because they're demanding affection, or they'll demand bark at you. Or if you have a piece of food they want, they will insist you give it to them. You know, that can come in the form of demand barking as well. Or sometimes if it's really out of control, the dog is biting you. And this is where I hear this a lot too, and I think we talked about this too, OT, where people, you know, you may have a dog, and I've heard this so many times, where let's say the dog is biting family members, and people will say, or maybe it attacks another dog in the family, they'll say, oh, it came out of nowhere, like the other dog wasn't doing anything. It's always for a reason. So my conclusion to that is, if you have a dog where it just seems like it's out of nowhere for no reason and the other dog didn't provoke it, what that tells me is that the dog who's being the aggressor believes it runs the whole group, and it's making rules for the group that you don't even know about. And so when you or another dog violates one of those unspoken rules, that's what leads to the aggression. So it seems like it's just random and out of nowhere, but the dog, because the dog, the one that's doing the disciplining, making the rules for the group, is by nature the authority figure of the group. So that dog's making rules for you that you're not aware of. So that's a clear sign that the power dynamic is extremely off balance. Absolutely. Sometimes it's so subtle, you know, but you miss it. And of course, a lot of times people just don't know what they're looking at, and so that is another issue too. Is you don't know how to read the situation. So it seems like it's for some random, you know, it's like, well, there was no reason for it, but in the dog's mind, there was a perfectly good reason for it. But if you begin to take control, right? You want to establish yourself as the authority figure by becoming the one who makes the rules, does the disciplining, establishes the boundaries, enforces those boundaries. That's how you begin to take the power back from the dog. But if you have a dog that's like that, it's only natural you are going to engage in power struggles. But by winning those power struggles, you then take the power away from the dog back into your hands. That's how you rebalance the power dynamics correctly. All right, we're gonna walk around. There's people sitting down. We got dogs. Dogs behind us, dogs in front. But Give me 1 second, guys.
So last night, or it was like last week, special guest was Nick Jonas.
We actually used to, there was a butcher right here. Used to be a different butcher, but we used to go in there. I used to get deer necks for my dogs, my other 2 dogs. I could get like a whole month's worth for $50. It was great.
No.
But that butcher, I think, he moved across town. Hi. No, she's not a stray. Just thank you.
Look at the puppy. I know.
There was a dog sitting over here. I think they moved. Beautiful day though. It's not too hot. Morning. Yeah, usually OT, you're right. It usually it gets worse before it gets better, because what happens is when that dog is comfortable in the position it has, and now you want to step up and begin to take that position from the dog, it's going to cause conflict, right? And so it usually leads to a bit of an escalation. Now the trick is understanding how far that escalation should go. There are some dogs you just don't want to challenge in certain ways, because it will lead to an escalation of a dangerous nature that you don't want to provoke. And so we want to avoid that. But you do still need to engage in a way that does cause a power struggle. You just have to understand the dog that's in front of you and how to navigate that situation with that particular dog. But things will get worse. They'll get a little more difficult. It'll be stressful. But consistency is key. The more consistent and persistent you are, and this is where where a lot of people struggle, is being patient and not engaging their emotions. That's the hard part, is when you engage in these power struggles and you are so emotionally unaffected by it. And I've done this with puppies a lot too, where it'll be like a 30-minute battle, and then finally the puppy gives in. But not once in that 30 minutes am I getting mad, frustrated, yelling at the dog, because I already know it's a predictable outcome for me. I already know what the dog will do once it finally gives up. And that's the thing. And I have many examples on my channel of engaging in a power struggle the correct way with a dog. And you can see that the dogs are very predictable. Once you go through that, the dogs all do the same thing. So you can see how far along in that process you are. You begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Sounds good, OT. Appreciate everybody joining. We are downtown Plainfield. Walking off leash. Goose is just getting a little shade here at the moment. Sun's starting to come out. But you see there's a lot of action down here. How you doing? She won't bother you. She won't bother you. All right, Goose, come on. Let's go. Yeah, let's go this way. You know what? Maybe we'll cross the street here once this car. Yeah, we'll cross the street, Goose. Let's go. All right, come on. This way. Okay. Wonderful. But if you're just joining, I'm discussing, if anyone's watching, if you have a dog where day to day there's constant conflict and there's friction, there are reasons for this, and it's not the way it should be. So we're just identifying the root causes of that. You know, everything I do and promote and teach has a foundation rooted in respect. And so if you have not done what's necessary to build respect from the dog to you, then that dog doesn't see you the right way. This is the root of the conflict, is the dog believes it runs the group. And so now the dog, why should the dog listen to you? And when you try to assert yourself over the dog fights, because it's like, well, who are you to tell me what to do? Imagine going to your place of work and telling your boss what to do. Your boss would be like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are telling me what to do? It's the same thing with your dog. Come here. We don't want to cross the road yet. Right? Hey. Oh, it's the music. You want to cross the road? All right, let's go. Let's go, girlfriend. There ain't nothing happening over here. But appreciate everybody joining. Goose is right here. We are downtown Plainfield. Here, you know what? Let's go this way, girl. Come on. Let's go this way. Yeah, let's go this way. So, how do we build respect? Because that's the key. How do we build respect in the eyes of our dog? Well, there's a few different ways we do this. One, again, as I said earlier, you need to establish yourself as the individual who makes the rules, who establishes and enforces boundaries. You need to become the disciplinarian. You know, if you're someone who's leading with love and affection, then that's why your dog does not respect you, right? What is this place? And so, morning.
Hello. How you doing?
How you doing? Good. How are you?
What a cutie.
Thank you. So if your dog does not, if you don't have that relationship dynamic where you are the disciplinarian, you're the leader, your dog is the follower, that's the root of it, because we have to understand the roles we play. The role for the human is to lead. The role of the dog is to follow. Right? So by nature, as the leader, you are the one that gives structure, gives rules, gives boundaries, and you need to enforce those things consistently. And that's the thing, if you're not consistent, it will take a lot longer to get where you want to go, and B, it makes things messy if you're not consistent. Now, you can be consistent in doing all the wrong things, for sure. But the hardest part for people, aside from always wanting to give the dog love and affection at all the wrong times, it's really hard for people to do. But you have to stop that for a while if you have a dog that's always engaging in conflict with you. But the other hardest thing for people to do is regulate their emotions. You know, and it can be hard because if you're already engaging in conflict with the dog, and now you're trying to assert yourself over the dog, it's going to create conflict, and that can really frustrate people. It can stress people. It can make people angry. I get it. However, you have to train yourself to not react like that. Right? The more you can just be a calm, stable presence as far as your emotions, the better off you'll be. Because now your dog can trust that you're not, obviously it can sense what you're putting out there energetically, but you know, I always say there's like this happy medium where, you know, if you're calm and assertive, that's the happy medium. But if you're too soft over here, then your dog's not going to respect you. But if you're too far over here and you're angry and frustrated and too forceful, too heavy-handed, then your dog's not going to respect you either. But if you're just calm, assertive, matter of fact, consistent in that, and that's where being persistent is a key too, because you're persistent but in the right way. And that's what will lead your dog when you engage in a power struggle and you engage in conflict. Your dog will eventually give into it and respect the message you're sending. Maybe it's a boundary you're establishing. Maybe it's something outside but the leash. Maybe, maybe the dog is nipping one of the children or something and you're stepping in to address it, whatever it could be. But there has to be, the nature of these things is that they will create conflict, right? So if there's already conflict between you and your dog, that's a problem, and it's telling you there is an issue in the relationship dynamic. But the only solution to that is to get to the other side. You're going to have to create more conflict, but it's of a different nature, right? And a lot of that just has to do with understanding how to effectively communicate. How do you properly communicate to your dog so it understands what the hell you're even trying to say to it? A lot of people think language or talking, I like to make the distinction between, a lot of people talk at their dog rather than talk to their dog. You could spew all kinds of words and sentences or whatever. Your dog doesn't know what the hell you're saying. All your dog knows is, are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you mad? All it knows is what's being put behind the emotion. It doesn't know behind the words. It doesn't know what you're saying. With the exception of making some kind of association. If you're consistent in the words you use. Of course, dogs would build associations between words and a sequence of events or what have you. Come on, girl, let's go. But oftentimes, like if you watch my videos, most of the time I don't talk to the dog at all. Especially when I'm engaging in conflict or a power struggle with the dog, I'm not really saying anything to the dog. It's a lot of physical communication, right? Dogs will understand on a physical level much in a more concrete way than you talking to it, right? Dogs are very physical with each other. So we just adopt those principles of, we can watch how dogs communicate with each other and then adopt those principles in how we communicate with them. Come on, girl. Or you want some shade? Yeah, I think she wants some shade. We'll give her some time in the shade here. Got a little car in the water, or water in the car. Hold on, girl. You want to go this way? All right, let's go. Got a little back alley here. What you think? Anyway, if anybody's watching and you have a dog where there's always friction, there's always conflict, then we have to identify the root of that issue. The dog doesn't respect you. The dog does not see you as an authority figure. That relationship dynamic there's holes in it. The foundation has not been established correctly. And so we have to work to fix that. Some things are more difficult to fix than others, but they can be fixed. But there's a reason your dog doesn't listen to you. Again, it's rooted in respect. People often will misattribute fear for respect, right? And it's not the case. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to read OT's comment here. So what is he like a dog therapist? Is he actually just trying to talk to the dogs? Is he literally trying to have a conversation? Hold on, Goose. Hey. You guys can go. You guys can pass. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I don't understand why people think they're going to solve these things with words. Come on, Goose. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, I've heard that too, and I agree with that sentiment. However, usually people don't do that in the right way, where they're letting the dogs figure it out. Usually, it's done in all the wrong ways. Done in all the wrong ways. Oh, well, appreciate everybody joining. Good morning. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very friendly. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Oh, is it? Boston. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have my glasses on.
He doesn't have the normal markings.
That's okay.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
Thank you. My brother and sister-in-law had a Boston Terrier. His name was Loki. Yeah.
He's good. This dog is so good.
Looks good. He's a lot
family.
calmer than the most of the Bostons I meet.
Chill.
Yeah.
He is
I like
so
that.
laid
That's
back.
how she is. She's like doggy Xanax. Oh, you want to play, huh?
He's definitely chill. Like he runs the show.
Does he?
Oh God, he runs the house for sure.
What's his name?
Dash.
Dash. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was very slow moving, so
Yeah.
I think my son named him Dash.
Oh, so it was like
And
a dog who's tiny
he
naming
was
him
so
big.
Slow, and then the next day he was taking off like a bit out of hell. That's
Yeah.
what they were saying.
Yeah.
Right, Bud?
Yeah, they're fast. They're fast little dogs.
Not him.
Oh, not him? No.
He's so laid, he's like, you know,
He's not one of the fast
Like I
ones.
take him out in the morning. I'm like, come on, dude, I gotta work today. Half an hour I'm out there, you know.
Right.
Always looking-
I like him though.
He's going to get his nails clipped.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good luck.
Oh no, he doesn't mind.
Oh, he's good.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Excellent.
I just came up yesterday. He doesn't mind at all.
Excellent.
His nails clipped.
All right.
We go every 3 weeks.
Okay.
We go
Well,
over
thank you.
here. It's like $5.
Is there a groom over here?
$5.
I didn't know that.
That's Listen Glamour right here, and $5 to get their nails clipped. It's awesome.
I didn't know there was a groom over
That's
here.
so cheap.
Okay. $5. I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Come on, bud.
Morning. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Hi. She's very friendly. If you want to say hi.
What's happening?
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name was Finnegan.
Finnegan. All right.
What's her name?
Gray Goose.
Oh.
Like a shot of doggy vodka, I would say.
Yeah. So cute. Oh, Finnegan is very happy.
Yeah, you like her, huh?
Okay,
Yeah,
come on.
you like
Thank
her.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, man. Have a good one. Yeah, I agree, OT. The less you talk, the better. Yeah, the presses are like, it's one of those breeds I don't, unless you're experienced, I just don't recommend people get them. It's like the shepherds or the bully or the pit bulls or the corsos, Like those are not beginner dogs. Morning, hi.
Hi, Woody.
Should we walk this way, Goose? Come on. Appreciate everybody joining. What's up, James? Appreciate you joining, man. Yeah, I would agree with that, man. Morning. Come on, girl. Let's come. All right. Morning. Come on, Goose. Let's go. Yeah, we're going this way. Morning. No, I agree, OT. It's just, I just don't recommend them for just the average person who's new to dog ownership or, those are the dogs I recommend. Like if you're experienced and you have success with previous dogs and you are capable of strong leadership, then a pit's fine. Because at least you know what you're doing. You have a foundation for that sort of thing. But a lot of people don't, and then that's why these pits have issues. Man, I did not know there was a groomer down here. What is she talking about? Hold on. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I think she said it was on this street here. Hi. Morning. Hi. Kids always love to say hi to Grey Goose. Come on, girl. Let's go. Appreciate everybody joining. If anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. I guess I always walk down this strip not really looking at much, so I guess I probably walked by. Good morning. I've probably walked by the groomer a million times, didn't even know it. Morning. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look when I drive back home. But a lot of action here this morning. Appreciate everybody joining. If anybody has any questions, but actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is an issue I see a lot with human relationships. Like, I think people believe that it's normal. Appreciate you joining the warrior. Thanks for getting a laugh out of me, man. That's hilarious. But like with human relationships, I think people, like if you have a significant other or a wife, people seem to think it's normal that you fight or you argue. Or sometimes people look for that. And to me, it's not normal. Because if there's arguments, then it means that there's a lack of respect. I look at cooperation like that. A lot of people seem to think cooperation is this 50-50 thing. I don't care if it's a human relationship or relationship with your dog. They believe it's this 50-50 equal exchange, and I don't subscribe to that at all. Cooperation to me, I love workplace analogies because I think they really paint the picture correctly. But imagine going to your work, like, the workplace is structured in a way that is supposed to promote cooperation, right? Everybody has a role they play, and nobody is supposed to really step on each other's toes, right? Your boss plays a certain role, you as an employee play a certain role. Your boss gives you instruction, direction, tells you what to do, and then you just go get the job done. And so if you were constantly butting heads with your boss, well, they'd fire your ass. So cooperation to me is everybody's playing a specific role. And the whole point of that hierarchy, like the workplace is a hierarchy, but if you have, I don't care if you have one dog or multiple dogs, the goal is to establish a hierarchy so that you move forward cooperating in a manner that eliminates conflict. So if everybody's at work doing their job, everybody's cooperating, things go smooth, and there's no issues. And I approach my personal relationships that way too. It's like I take on a certain role. When things are done right, there should be no arguments. It's smooth sailing. For sure, OT. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Right? But that to me is cooperation. Leader-follower, right? That is a cooperative relationship. Not leader-leader. Like there's only one CEO to a corporation. Right? And that's just the nature of a hierarchy. Is you can't have, if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, it leads to arguments. When you have fights, like say if your dog is engaging in conflict with you all the time, it means that your dog believes it has more power in the relationship dynamic you've established than it really should. So it leads the dog to push back on you. It leads the dog to be disrespectful. Right? It's a battle for control. Just like when two people argue, it's a battle for control. Come here, girl. Right? But when you demonstrate that you are a sound, consistent leader, then people will rely on your leadership. They're not going to question you. And things move forward smoothly. Not to say, no, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you've demonstrated over a period of time that you can be trusted. You know what I mean? You need a break, girl? Starting to breathe a little heavy. Appreciate those of you joining us. We are downtown Plainfield. It's fairly busy over here. We're gonna walk back to the main road here in a second. For those of you just joining, if you have a dog where there's constant friction or constant conflict, that is what we are discussing today. If anybody does and you want to ask a question or what have you, feel free. But this is what things look like when there is no conflict, when there's no friction, when the roles have been established correctly, the power dynamics are balanced correctly, right? I lead, she follows, I have all the power. There is mutual respect here. And so this is what can be accomplished. I can take my dog anywhere, no leash, no collar, and things are smooth. We don't have any problems, right? And if you're just joining, like we've she's interacted with a couple of dogs. We've passed people, kids, whatever. There's no issues. She's not taking upon herself to engage with her environment in a way that is outside of my authority, right? Absolutely, OT. Yeah, and it goes both ways. Like being able to take Gray Goose to a busy downtown area where there are people, cars, other dogs, whatever. I trust her 150% to listen, to follow me, to not engage with her environment in a way that I would not approve of. Right, so yes, it's a mutual trust. She trusts me, but I also trust her. I don't even have a collar on this dog. I trust her that much. So it's trust is built just like respect. People, I don't know, it's like Robert Hines always says, well, a relationship is trust and respect. And that creates confidence. Like, well, it's a very shallow way of putting it, but trust and respect are not automatic. You have to build these things, right? You build trust in the dog, and the dog builds trust in you. That takes time. Goose, come here. She likes to go on people's porches, but I'm gonna tell her no. I don't want her going on anyone's porch. Appreciate everybody joining, though. We're downtown Plainfield, busy downtown Plainfield. Off leash. This is what things look like when you have no conflict with your dog, when the relationship dynamic is established correctly. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Very, very pleased to have you. If anybody has any questions about what we do here, let me know. Happy to answer any questions. Really appreciate everybody joining. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. But down here, there's traffic, cars, dogs, people walking their dogs, a lot of people out walking, eating lunch. A lot of things could go wrong, but they don't. Right? But I also trust Gray Goose to not do anything that I wouldn't approve of. Right, girl? Need a minute? It's getting warmer out here, so I don't blame you if you need a minute. Last week there was this whole big event at this park. I guess there was like a bike race all day. There's some guy on the megaphone. If you didn't see this last week's stream, there's a guy on a megaphone. There's cops everywhere. None of the cops said anything to me about having her off leash walking around. Usually they don't. It's interesting though. But my last two dogs, I remember my last two dogs. I always had Kaylee off a leash, and I remember towards the end of her life, I took her to Whalen Lake, which I've done a stream there too, but. No, T, we actually didn't end up going. I didn't want to push Goose too hard. It was a little warmer that day. And I had company coming over, and I was like, twice in one day, I thought was a bit much. So no, we didn't. This is the first time we've been back here since last week, but I remember I took my dogs to Whalen Lake, and Kaylee was always off leash, and there was like nobody there, and this was towards the end of Kaylee's life, and she had trouble walking. She had an issue with her spine. She injured herself, and she was having issues with her left back leg. Well, she could barely walk, and so even if I put her on a leash, like, she couldn't keep up. But she was great off leash. She was exactly like Grey Goose off the leash. So this cop's like, "Sir, you need to have your dog on a leash." And I said, I'm not putting her on a leash. Said, "You're more than welcome to write me a ticket." And of course she didn't write it. Every time I've told a cop to write me a ticket, they never do. It's a very interesting thing. I'm like, "Listen, my dog can barely walk, and you're gonna tell me to put her on a leash?" Like, whatever. Yeah, the heat would get to the Bostons too. I understand that. It's not all the bullies, unfortunately. It's like we got a dog coming up over there. I'll wait for them to pass first. You dog, I have no idea what you're talking about, but given some of the trending topics on the internet right now, I'd be careful, because we don't condone any kind of inappropriate messaging, especially geared towards anyone of a younger age. But appreciate everybody joining. Oh, those people went in the store. All right, Goose, you want to cross the road? Let's go. Let's cross the road, girlfriend. Come on, girl. Let's do it. Appreciate everybody joining. If you're just joining, welcome. We are downtown Plainfield. Goose is off leash. Enjoying this beautiful Saturday morning. Discussing the nature of conflict. If you have conflict with your dog, it means the relationship dynamic is not balanced. And your dog does not see you as an authority figure. You know what? We didn't go down that way yet. I still don't know what this store is. What the hell is this store? Come here, girl. Let's go this way. Come on, let's go this way. Yeah? Anybody has any questions, let me know. You investigating? Not much to investigate, Goose. I mean, not much to investigate, right? You know what? I think we're gonna cross the road. You wanna cross the road here? We haven't gone down this way yet. Come on, girl. Let's go. Let's go. Appreciate everybody joining. Let's go, girlfriend. Okay. It all plays its own part, OT. Right? So structure, routine is part of structure. Right? So structure involves boundaries. Structure involves routine. Structure involves consistency. Structure involves, like, here's the line you do not cross. Structure involves the dog understanding the rules and respecting those rules. There's part of the structure is there's consequences for those rules should the dog decide to deliberately disrespect the rule. So the more consistent you are in enforcing those things in the correct way, right, in a strong, assertive but calm way, then your dog will respect you because there's a difference between you being like an authoritarian versus being an authoritative individual. Being an authoritarian won't lead your dog to respect you. Your dog will listen mostly out of fear if you're more of an authoritarian. Your dog will just listen because it's like, I fear the consequence, rather than the dog understanding the consequence. Because the consequence never needs to be severe. The consequence should match the infraction. And so if you do it in a way, like I said, that's calm and assertive and does not cause the dog to fear you, then you're on the road to building respect. But consistency is a huge part of that too. I use the analogy of, like, you know, when it comes to people, right? Especially amongst men. You know, if you have a friend who is always telling you he's going to do X, Y, and Z and never follows through, well, you can't trust that person's word, and you won't respect that individual because you're like, dude, you always say this and you never do. Or maybe they're a hypocrite and they say they'll do one thing and then they do the exact opposite. You won't have respect for that individual, right? So there's similar dynamics with you and your dog. You know, like if I establish a boundary, I'm going to consistently enforce that boundary, so my dog understands that, okay, there's no choice here. I have to listen to this. Goose is just having some time under the bench here. She likes the shade. Appreciate everybody joining. Yeah, just like that, OT. You know, you're utilizing all the means of communication: eye contact, body language, tone of voice, positioning, the energy you're putting into something. All of those things are forms of communication that we can use to drive the message home to our dog. But again, it doesn't need to be in an overly forceful way, or angry or frustrated or mad. That's usually where you'll lose the dog. But see, the great byproduct of it is when you do it right, the dog wants to listen out of respect. Like, how many people watch and have a dog where maybe if you're in the room, the dog listens, but the minute you walk out the door, the dog's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. Well, the dog is just waiting for its opportunity. It doesn't mean the dog truly respects you. The dog's just waiting for its opportunity, right? Real respect would be you walk out the room and leave, and the dog still adheres to that boundary or follows that rule. Here, come on, girl. Want to go this way? Where's the, we're going to go down towards the bridge. Yeah, let's go this way, girl. Yeah, not as much action here as last week, but there's still enough going on here. Really appreciate everybody joining. If anybody has any questions, we are downtown Plainfield. If anybody's new to the channel, welcome. This is my dog, Gray Goose. We do these live streams, as of late, frequently. Exactly. Totally true, OT. I'll even tell you, it was the same issue when I was growing up. Morning. Like when I was a kid, you know, my mom was always the one getting too overly emotional when she would try to discipline us, and I just didn't want to listen to her. But then when my dad stepped in, all he'd have to do is give a look, and it's like, all right, I'll listen. It's the same idea, right? My mom couldn't build that respect because she was always flying off the fucking head. She was always getting angry, and it doesn't, you know, it makes you want to not listen. You know what I mean? Hold on a second, bro. You don't want to cross the street yet. Okay, let's go. Yeah, just like that, OT. You're following through. And the consequence is you lose your freedom. You go in the crate. Exactly. I do the same thing. Yeah, see, I thought this bridge was down because of the bike race, but I think they're actually working on it. I think there's construction. Anyway, appreciate everybody joining. If anybody's just joining and you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Grey Goose. If you have a dog that's always engaging in conflict, let me know. That's what we're talking about today. Oh, that's another thing that I talk about a lot is following through. Right? Following through is very, very important. So for instance, I see this a lot too, where let's say you call your dog to you and maybe they look at you, but then they just blow you off. Well, if you don't follow through and go get the dog because you're saying, hey, I called you to me, then you're going to lose respect in the dog's eyes because you're not following through on what it is you said. So your word loses meaning, it loses weight. Morning, how you doing? Right, and so if you want your word to mean something to your dog, like if you call your dog to you and they look at you and then they're like, nah, fuck it, I don't feel like it, then you would walk over to the dog and just, you know, gently grab their collar and lead them to where you need them to go. That would be following through. So now you are communicating to the dog like, hey, I called you, I need you to do it. So then your dog, you repeat that enough and your dog will understand, like, all right, fuck, I need to do it, right? Now, here's the thing though, don't put unreasonable demands on your dog. Like, there should be a reason behind it. So if you have a reason for calling your dog and it doesn't listen, well then the follow through is very important because, you know, what if it's an emergency situation? I need you to fucking come here. The dog doesn't understand that, but you do. So that's why following through is very important. You want your words to mean something to your dog. You want your word to carry weight in your dog's mind. You want some time in the yeah, want some time in the shade. Yeah, take a minute. Yeah, you're a little warm. Take a minute, girl. Appreciate everybody joining. That's Grey Goose. If you're new to the channel, we are off-leash, downtown Plainfield. Doing some kind of construction at the bridge here. Yeah, and that's fine, OT. Especially with a Corso, that's probably the best course of action. You know, I did that with my previous two dogs because Bruno, you know, especially when I got him, he had a tendency to, you know, he just didn't know where the line was. It was always straight to, I'm going to kill you. So it was like, yeah, I established the boundaries for both of them. So, but it's, I have so many videos. It's so fun to watch where they, you know, my dogs used to share things so well. Or like I have videos where I give him a frozen Kong or something to chew on, and Bruno would finish first, and he would just stand there and wait for Kaylee to finish, you know, and then they would swap where Kaylee would go over to Bruno's, and Bruno's would go over to Kaylee, and then they would try to get what they can out of the Kong. It was so funny. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with establishing that. Not every dog is cut out for that role of being a disciplinarian, you know. Goose is perfectly suited to it. Appreciate everybody joining. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you have any questions, let me know. We do these live streams all the time, off leash. I love live streams because you can't hide nothing. There's no editing, no fancy gimmicks, no bullshit. It's just, this is the reality of what we do. And if you're new to the stream, like earlier, you know, we passed dogs, people, kids. Goose met a couple dogs. No problems. That's how it should be. All right, girl. Want to go back this way? I don't want to take it too far because your panting is getting a little heavy. Yeah. Should we go back the other way? What do you think? You want to go this way? All right, let's go. Let's go. I'm not going to take you too far, though. I used to take my other dogs to this park here. I like this park, but it's the one, there's another park next to it that I really, really like. But Bruno used to really love getting in the lake or the river. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody joining. Grey Goose is right behind me. She just had a bath. Although I don't think she'd want to get in the lake anyway or the river, but she just had a bath, so I'm not going to let her do that. Really appreciate everybody joining. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I think I'm trying to think if in regards to the topic, if I covered everything I wanted to say. But I guess to wrap it up, this is the result. You know, I have a video on what are the 4 tenets of a relationship. Tenet 1, everybody's playing their proper roles. Tenet 2, power dynamics are aligned correctly. Tenet 3, proper and effective communication. Tenet 4, rules and boundaries are consistently enforced, which become expectations. So when you have friction, or there's always conflict between you and your dog, it means one of those 4 tenets are not working correctly, or maybe none of them are working correctly. So when it comes to the roles, understanding that this is a leader-follower dynamic. Human leads, dog follows. So, and that leads right into tenet number 2. By adopting the position of leadership, you hold all the power. Right? You're the one asserting yourself to your dog. You're the one establishing rules. You're the one establishing boundaries. You're the one enforcing those boundaries. This puts you in a dominant position. This way. Goose. Oh, you just want some shade, yeah? Come on. I got water in the car, girlfriend. But, come here. So, tenet 2. This way, girl. This way. Oh, this way. Come on. This way. Let's go. Yeah, you don't want to go over there, sweetheart. We're going this way. But anyway, tenet 2, right? So, as I said, tenet 1, that puts you in a position of leadership, which naturally you have all the power in that situation, or you should. That's the goal. But how do we get there? Well, we get there through proper and effective communication. Right? It's the way we communicate to the dog that establishes dominance. You can't enforce a boundary without proper communication. You can't enforce a rule without proper communication. You know, you can't provide leadership without effective communication. Right? All right, let's keep going. Morning. How you doing? And then, of course, like I said, the last one is enforcing those things consistently. Everything you do you have to be consistent in everything you do. As I said before, you can consistently do the wrong things. So you can be consistent in the wrong way. But that just comes down to understanding what to do and how to do it right, you know. So, morning. How you doing? All right, girl, come on. But yeah, if anybody hasn't seen that relationship video, definitely recommend it. I just go through these things. Like, let's even look at the nature of relationships, right? The different roles. So, different relationships have different functions. You know, the type of relationship dynamic you have with a friend is not the same type of relationship dynamic you have with your boss or your parents or a significant other. So the role you play in those relationships looks different. Depending on the role you play determines, you know, a lot of different things. So if we understand that the role we must play with our dogs is to be in a position of leadership, then now we can begin to understand what kind of responsibilities do I have? What does that mean? What does leadership even mean, right? Yeah, definitely, OT. I got some water in the car. We're not walking long though, but the shade really helps Goose out. I'll get her. We're not far from the car, so I'm gonna get her some water soon. But if anybody has any questions about what I just said, let me know. I'm happy to elaborate or go a bit deeper on things, explain things. But if you're just joining, we're at downtown Plainfield. There's little Miss Grey Goose. Appreciate everybody joining. But as I stated before, if you have constant friction, conflict with your dog, then those are symptoms of a deeper problem. It's like I hear people always say like the training never stops, and I could not disagree with that more. But then again, they're approaching things from the perspective of training, and I don't. If you have behavioral issues, there is most definitely an endpoint. Right? And if people say it never ends, then that means there's something missing in what they're promoting. Yeah, leadership's a skill set for me, OT. And you're not wrong. I guess I always hear the word thrown around, but nobody really elaborates on what they mean. You know, so to me, leadership is a skill. It encompasses many different skills. So like to me, a good leader is somebody, who is very emotionally stable in all situations, right? Especially when it counts. You know, in pressure situations, a good leader should be able to lead people through those situations under pressure and not break, not lose their shit, right? So there's one principle of a good leader. Another principle of good leadership is being able to provide clear direction in a way that the follower can understand. A good leader follows through. A good leader makes corrections when necessary in the right way. You know, a good leader gives credit where credit's due. A good leader blames themselves for everything. Like if something goes wrong in the group, it's your fault. There was a breakdown somewhere on your part. You take responsibility for those fuck-ups, right? What could I have done better as a leader? Of course, you know, the simple things like protecting the group, making sure everybody has what they need. But support is also a big one. Good leaders know how to support their group. That's no different for your dog, knowing how to support your dog. Right? Good leaders are consistent. Very consistent. Day to day to day. Consistent. But it's not just consistent in what you do, but who you are. You know, imagine going to work and one day your boss is like a raging lunatic, and then the next day your boss is like the calmest, most pleasant person to be around, but it's all over like you never know what to expect, and so it's like you're kind of walking on eggshells. That's not the kind of temperament that I would want from somebody who's supposed to be in control. Oh, that's another thing. A good leader does not seek to control people, but they are in control. That's a big one. You don't seek to control people or what have you, but you are in control. And that gives people a sense of security. It gives your dog a sense of security. Because then, like I said, we head into this realm of authoritarianism where that is not productive. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no excuses. Right? Heavy is the crown. Or, you know, that saying, heavy is the crown. That, you know, the burden. You know, being a leader there's burden to it. It's not sunshines and rainbows. You know, that's why a lot of people don't want the position. Hey, Goose. Come here, girl. Can we get some water? Come here. Let's go get some water. Come on, let's get some water. Let's go. Yeah, heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's what I was trying to say. You know what I was trying to say, OT. That's the truth, you know? A lot of people want all the perks that come with the leadership, but they don't. The responsibility that comes with the leadership is a different story, you know? You know, you got to be responsible for everything. Appreciate everybody joining. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Grey Goose. We're downtown Plainfield for an off-leash walk. Talking about the nature of conflict. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Gonna take Goose back to the car, get her some water. Right, girl? We're gonna go get some water. Looks like it's dying down a little bit over here, but that's okay. Right, girl? We're gonna go get some agua. What's up, AD? Hello, Italy. Wonderful. Well, hello from America. You know, someday before I die, I'd like to go to Italy. It's one of my spots. I just want to experience the culture, eat the food. I want to see Rome too. I really want to go to Rome, like the Colosseum. Really appreciate you joining. Thank you. That's my dog, Gray Goose. We do these live streams frequently. We are off-leash downtown Plainfield, near Chicago. What do you hear? Hear something over there. Just like, fuck that. Appreciate everybody joining. We are downtown Plainfield. Let's go get you some water. We're gonna get Goose some water. Right? Trying to remember where. Let's see. I think the car's over here, girlfriend. That's okay, AD. Appreciate you joining. Hey, so far I can understand you, so it's all good. Thank you for joining. All the way from Italy, Italia. Not a problem. Let's go get some water, girlfriend. Come on. Yeah, let's take you to the car. Let's go get some water. You want some water? Hmm? Yeah, I can tell you need some water. Appreciate everybody joining. Let's go get some water. We gotta cross the street though. Let's go. Hold on. We got cars coming. We will wait just a moment. For these cars to pass, and then we will cross the road. Appreciate everybody joining from all over the world. Looks like we got one more car. And then we can go. All right, Goose, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Alright, we're gonna get you some water. Let's go. Appreciate everybody joining. I think I pretty much said what I wanted to say on the topic. So if you're just joining, I recommend going back to the beginning. Unless anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. Yeah? Come on, girl. Let's see if we can get to the car from here. Really appreciate the engagement, guys. Love chatting with you. I think once I get some water for Goose, we'll hang out for a minute, chat with you guys if you want, and then we're gonna head out of here. Really appreciate everybody joining though. But if you're new to the channel, this is Gray Goose, my dog. Oh, also, if you missed it, I made a post. Petunia the Pit Bull, who was the first few videos I made on this channel were about Petunia the Pit Bull. She will be, who's still one of my greatest client successes. She will be making an appearance next Tuesday. I'm gonna take her and Goose for an off-leash walk. She's getting a little older though. She's got some arthritis in her legs, so it's not gonna be a long walk. But I'm gonna take her and Goose for an off-leash walk. So that she hasn't been on the channel in a while, but that'll be a lot of fun if anybody wants to tune in. Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Training Law in New York? No, never heard of them. You know, there aren't a lot of like dog training channels I watch, OT, because a lot of it I just don't. It just doesn't resonate with me. You know, there's a few that I watch, but there's a lot that I just don't even know about. It all looks the same to me anyway. To me, it's a lot of it's just cookie cutter shit, you know. But I tell you, if who you're talking about goes around New York off leash, then I would definitely be interested in that. Yeah, we're by the car now. I'll wait for this car to pass. We're just gonna get Goose some water. Those of you joining, appreciate it. It's Gray Goose. Gonna get her some water. It's like we got people playing up here. Yeah, the car's right here. You want some water, girlfriend? I grab some water for Goose. Oh, I thought you were talking about a channel. Get out of here. Get out of here. I was wondering when that shit was gonna start. I made a video, I think it was because of the glamour grooming? No. Was it glamour grooming? Yeah. Where because of that, they're now talking about legislation for Tennessee. But yeah, I was wondering when people were going to start getting going with the all positive legislation and so on and so forth. It's like, here, you want any? Or no, not interested. Oh, of course the police would be exempt, right? No surprise there. And it doesn't surprise you. Would think that would pass first in California, but New York doesn't surprise me. You know, New York is almost as bad as California. I mean, Illinois isn't much better, to be honest with you. Goose, you want any water? No? I guess you're not thirsty. Whatever. Did it really? I didn't know that. You want some? No? Alright. I'm surprised. I think you'd want some water. It doesn't surprise me that Germany, unfortunately, Germany is extremely progressive. So that's no surprise. Didn't they ban crates in the UK too? Of course, because that's the only thing that can... Actually, a lot of balanced people will recommend that too. I've even worked with clients where they're like, yeah, the last person I talked to told me to put the dog down. Okay. Funny how that's such common advice. It's like, Jesus, why don't we actually give this a shot first? Let's see if the dog can be helped. It's funny too, OT, because it's a human-made problem. We created the problem. We want to blame the dog. And then we want to say that the only solution is, well, we just kill it. It's kind of ironic. It's like human beings created this dog, through ignorance or what have you. You don't understand the dog. You blame the dog, and then you want to kill the dog. But does that really surprise anybody? Doesn't surprise me. Right, girl? Does that surprise you? Doesn't surprise me. And actually, Petunia was one of those pit bulls where... So, the story with Petunia You know, as an older woman, older women's her owners. If anybody's seen the videos I have on Petunia. So she was found as a stray, I think, in Indiana. So, like, nobody knew how old she was or whatever, where she came from. But her owner took her in as a foster, and her goal was to adopt her out. But nobody showed any interest in adopting her. So she's like, well, I guess I'll just keep this dog. Well, she, to her credit, she actually, so Petunia was human aggressive when she got her. And she actually made a lot of progress with Petunia with the human aggression. There were still instances of it, though, she needed help with, like Petunia would nip at people's feet or bite people's feet when they walked in the door, like the maintenance man, or she has a friend that would come to visit. So she still needed help with that, but it was the dog aggression she really needed help with. But it's this unlikely duo, you know, an elderly woman and a pit bull. You just never would think. But she just didn't know what to do to resolve the dog aggression, and so we got it done. And now it's like she went from thinking like I don't think I can handle this dog to, I mean, they're inseparable. You know, it's a beautiful thing. And I always say I wish for every owner that I work with to have the kind of relationship that I've been able to have with my dogs. And she's an example of that. She has that relationship with Petunia. It's a beautiful thing. But if anybody has seen my post, Petunia I'll be doing a live stream with Petunia and Grey Goose. We'll be taking an off-leash walk next Tuesday, 11 a.m. For those who want to tune in and see both of them off-leash. So I haven't had Petunia on the channel. There's only one other short video I had where I went to visit them. But Petunia hasn't been on the channel in a while. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Anybody have anything they want to say? Any questions? Really, really appreciate everybody joining. This was a lot of fun. I really like coming down here. We'll be down here again. And if you haven't seen the first live stream down here last week, there was a lot more action down here. That was a lot of fun. So I think we'll be coming down here frequently. You know, if Grizz is going to come the first week of September. So there'll be some more live streams with Grizz off leash. That'll be coming up. A lot of good stuff coming up. Hey, you're welcome, OTM. I appreciate you joining. Appreciate everybody joining. We just got a little bump in viewers, so we're about to end. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to stick around and answer questions. But like I said, Tuesday, 11 a.m., Petunia the Pitbull and Goose will be live for an off-leash walk for those of you who want to join for that. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. You killed it, Goose. Right? I know. Tell me about it. Why don't you say hi to everybody? Yeah. Why don't you say hi to everybody? Right? Okay, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. Really appreciate everybody joining. New videos coming soon. Everybody have a great weekend, all right?